Hello, everyone. I'm Denise Berry. Welcome. I'm hosting this free speaker series to help you get unstuck and break free from whatever it may be holding you back. Today, I'm very honored to have with me Erin Kyna. Welcome, Erin.
Thank you so much, Denise.
All the way from Hawaii.
Yes, well, I'm actually in Portland. I've been snowed into Portland, so I was anticipating being in Hawaii, but life is keeping me here for a while.
Oh, wonderful. Well, before we jump into the topic, Erin, I would really like to get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, well, what can I share? Sometimes I find it hard to define who Erin is because really what I do in the world is that I'm being me. And I'm being me in every interaction I have, whether that's staying with friends or seeing clients or in an Uber and talking with the Uber driver. So I feel very blessed that I have created this life around who I am. And I find often as I put a label or definition on it, it doesn't seem to, it in some ways kind of has felt a bit restricting. I used to so confidently say, I'm Erin Kyna, life coach and meditation teacher. And it would just roll off my tongue.
Great.
But I've been through such a huge metamorphosis in the last 12 months that now doesn't seem to fully encompass what it is that I do. So when I see my clients, I work with a combination of my coaching skills, my energetic healing skills. I also do tarot and a few other little tools in my pocket like that. And really what I'm committed to is creating radical transformation for my clients. And through our own healing and our own transformation, we're transforming the world on a global scale.
Yes, I love it. Be you. That was actually a message from a friend of mine just a few minutes ago. So,
oh, how nice. That's beautiful. And imagine if all of us had that, the really deeply grounded knowingness of who we are, and we show up in the world like that. Like it would just, if everyone got this beautiful experience of just being ourselves in our work, it would be deeply satisfying.
Yes, I agree. Wonderful. Well, I'm very excited to explore this topic with you, Erin. I know that you're going to share a lot of insight on it. And today, Erin is really going to help us understand how our internal world really affects our external world. So, Erin, please, you're welcome to share.
Yes. Well, it's interesting, again, to say that our internal world affects our external world is a truth, but probably not the whole truth, because our external world is purely a reflection of our internal world. That's all it is. Because you and I can be sitting here and have the same experience on this call today and walk away, and I could have said, Erin, that was the best interview you've ever done. And you could get off the phone potentially and go, oh, I really didn't get much out of that. And yet we've shared the same experience. It's not the external experience as such, but it's our own inner world and how we've related to that and how we've perceived it and what we've gained. So everything really is all about our inner world. And as I see people walking down the street to me, I can recognize now they're living in their own world. It's like they're in their own little universe, as am I. And we walk past each other on the street. Yes, we're sharing the same street, and yet we're not sharing the same universe. It's 100, again, the weather, as I said, I've been snowed in here in Portland, and living in Hawaii, we would never have an experience like this. So I'm like snow and snowflakes and all the local people are like, damn it, the snow and the ice and school's closed. And we're sharing the same experience, but our inner world is dictating what kind of relationship we're having with the external experience. So it's all a big mirror.
Absolutely. And I think it has everything to do with those thoughts in our head that dictate our experience. Which thoughts are we going to attach to? Well, then.
Exactly. And what meaning we assign to those experiences. And I feel that there's a big component of it is our mind, and another big component of it is our heart and our feelings and our emotions. But for the majority of people who've not yet really learnt to become familiar with the workings of their mind, their emotions can be dominant and make them feel frustrated and angry and upset or joyful. But actually, most of those are secondary to whatever thoughts they had in the first place. So they tell themselves, snow's coming, damn, this is going to interrupt so many things, and the frustration arises from that. But as we become more familiar and make friends with our mind and get to know the inner working of our own uniqueness, then actually the emotional state beyond that can be much more pure. It's not I've had that thought and then those emotions arise, the snow is frustrating. Such a fundamental way of looking at it. And so now you and I can go, oh, I'm feeling really frustrated. What does this say about me? What within me is feeling frustrated about? What is being triggered here? So that's one of the most powerful questions I use, is like, how is this about me?
Right.
Whether that's in relationship with another one and they've done or said something and I've instantly projected and thought that they're a terrible person or they're a wonderful person. I'm like, oh, okay, hold on. How is this about me? What part of me am I seeing within them that's making me feel X, Y, or Z?
That's right. So how do you help someone understand their internal world?
Oh, I used to say everyone has to meditate. And when I became vegetarian, I was also saying the same thing. Everyone needs to become vegetarian. Because they've been such powerful tools for me. I just wanted the whole world to feel how I was feeling. Right. And really, in my maturity and my experience as a coach, you really identify it's unique for everyone. And that there is no one template that's going to work across the board. So yes, meditation has been the greatest tool in my life. Does that mean it's going to be the greatest tool in everyone's life? No. For some people, meditating can be the worst thing. If they're finding that it's not a natural inclination for them, it could be just repeating or reigniting belief systems about being a failure and not being good enough. It can actually put them heading down the hill rather than heading up the hill. But certainly from my own personal experience, I found meditating was the number one tool to become witness to what was happening here. I went through a period of my life when I was younger where I absolutely hated myself. Like I'd experienced a lot of traumas as a child and it had just left me very dysfunctional, and I hated myself. And the thought of being alone in my own mind was like the biggest nightmare. Like, you don't want to know what's up here. And then as I started to meditate, I can look at it and pull that thought into the forefront and say, okay, what do I want to do with that? Right. Is it the truth? Do I want to change it? Is there something more empowering? And so I started to weed the garden of my mind through just observing it and kind of creating the separation between what I was thinking and who I am. And so I'm not the thoughts. Someone used an analogy with me once that I thought was beautiful. It's like a rider of a horse. It's like you can let that horse take you away and take total control, representing the thought, or you can be the rider and pull the horse up and say, okay, you're my horse and I'm going to choose which direction we choose to go. So previously my mind had just been a wild horse, and now it's like, oh, I'm the rider of this mind and I get to choose in each moment. What thoughts do I want to choose? Like, to me, it's the consciousness. It's like food. So what am I putting into my consciousness every day? I don't watch violent movies and I don't read trashy magazines and all of those things. I notice how it affects my mind, how quickly the subconscious, particularly the subconscious thoughts, are affected. My friend took me to a movie the other day that had some gruesome moments, and I closed my eyes and didn't watch it. And yet I noticed that night when I was laying down to go to sleep, my thoughts kept going back to aggression or violence, like just weird things. And I kept saying to myself, no, I'm a delicate flower. I don't know where that came from, but that was the first thing I could kind of get a hold of. Right. By my mind drifted, I was like, no, Erin, you are a delicate flower. And I just had to keep reining that horse back in. Right. So for me, my mind, it's my greatest gift, certainly, and it's also can be my worst enemy if it's very impressionable, as we all are. So it's really important to find a way to filter your thoughts and observe your thoughts and consciously choose whether that's meditation or something else that helps you get there.
Yes, I agree. I've recently started meditating myself, and I really do agree with what you said about being a witness. I learned somewhere that the word responsibility is really, when you break it down, response and ability. It is it's your responsibility on how you're going to respond to what you're thinking about. Yeah.
That is powerful, isn't it?
It is. And without being a witness and knowing the difference, you can't make that choice. So if we're unaware, we can't choose between the two. But when it becomes known and present and in our face, then it's easier. I'm not saying it's easy, but then we do really have that responsibility on us. And then that is a choice. We can make it, and we're not a victim anymore.
Exactly. And, that's probably the number one thing I teach, is that we're not victims. And someone recently said to me, But she often looks at a situation and thinks, oh, I put that in my script. That's interesting. And I'm like, that's right. Where our soul is creating all of those experiences for us. And I just thought that framing was so instant at getting you out of victimhood. And you're like, oh, I scripted that guy to come in and treat me like that. Wonder. And then we can look at the lessons and the blessings and the growth opportunities to get ourselves out of there. But I think what you shared there about our ability to respond is probably the key component I've gained from meditation, is that reactivity of just not even understanding what's happening, and you're going into frustration or anger. I'm speaking a lot about negative experiences here too, but it's just as important for the positive ones, is our ability to consciously choose our response. And by no means am I perfect. Like, I still have my reactions, absolutely. But now I can also say, whoa, I'm being triggered. Like, I'm right in the middle of a trigger. I'm going to take myself out of here. Or I just need 30 seconds to breathe, rather than having ridden the trigger all the way out and come down the other side and then gone, ooh, that probably wasn't so good. So, like, we're not aiming for perfection by any means, but yes, we're aiming to get to know ourselves more so that we can be choosing our response to every situation.
That's right.
I also heard a beautiful saying that it came from a Buddhist monk. He said, the prisoner gets put into prison and he yells, and the Buddhist gets put into prison and he says, thank you. And that to me was like pivotal. I was like, shit, I could choose every situation to be okay. When I used to get needles from the doctor, I remember thinking, oh my God, a needle's coming, or a blood test, you know. And now I can say, I can choose to be calm. I can choose to breathe. And in every moment, we truly can choose. And that's what creates our external experience. That's what those two little universes crossing paths in the street makes one a joyful universe to exist in, and one a non-joyful universe is simply our choice to choose joy in that moment.
Correct. And I also think that with meditation helps us become present, because like you had said about the subconscious, if we're not aware, then the automatic pilot kicks in, which is that 95% of the time, the subconscious is at work in the back of our mind, and it's taking over. But when we can become present, I think that's when we feel like we have a little more control.
Yes, absolutely. And we can also kind of mold our subconscious to be working for us. So I like to explain to my clients, if we think back to the first time that we ever learned to drive a manual car, and you get in the car and you're a bit panicked and you're like, okay, clutch, gear stick, accelerator, indicator, mirror. Like, it's just, we haven't even moved yet. But we've gone through this checklist, and then we take off, and then we think, oh, I've got to shift gear, less accelerator, clutch down, gear stick, and we're just constantly going through the steps. And our first few driving lessons are all just about going through the steps. And eventually we get to a point where the driving instructor shows up, we get in the car, we start the car, we drive to the end of the street. Like, whoa, I just drove. It's like, I just did that, because all of a sudden that repetitive conscious behavior has dropped into the subconscious, and now the subconscious is driving the car, and we don't need to think anymore. And we're using that subconscious pattern to our benefit. All of us drive subconsciously. That means we could put on lipstick, or we could bite a muffin, or we could have a conversation all at the same time. So we just really need to go through the garden of our mind and say, does this subconscious program work for me or against me? Okay, this one works against me. What do I want to replace it with? What conscious, consistent practice do I want it to put into place so that drops in and I have that working for me? And then it benefits us. And we have some fantastic subconscious programs that benefit us, and then some that really like are a distraction or a deterrent to our experience of our higher self. So it's just going through and saying, okay, I want to use this tool of the subconscious for me. Imagine if our mind was only conditioned with empowering beliefs and thoughts.
Wow.
Imagine if, I know. Because I asked myself once, I was like, surely this is a design fault. Why can my brain hold on to this belief that I'm not lovable, which is not true, but it's how my inner child perceived events? Like, what a design fault that's in here somewhere. And I still remember where I was driving when I thought, what if it was the other way around? What if our brain held on to beliefs that was like, I'm unconditionally lovable. I am limitless. I can achieve anything I put my mind to. I was like, whoa, that's why we have a subconscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have that potential within us to honestly, to be running from a place of unconscious, unlimited potential. So that's my goal. Working towards it. And it's amazing how many layers we think we do the work. And we certainly do. I remember working on forgiveness of someone that caused me a lot of pain and trauma in my life. And at that level of awareness, I absolutely had found forgiveness. And forgiveness for me felt like unconditional love and gratitude, like overwhelmed with tears of gratitude for having had that experience, which is crazy to think about. Awesome. So awesome to think about. But then as I expanded and grew even more than that, there was still some scar tissue between where I'd got to and where I was going. And it was like, more forgiveness work? Really? I was like, come on, I thought that I'd mastered this one. But, you know, as we expand and expand and expand, there's always more work. So I like to say to my clients, just because you see the same things coming up doesn't mean that you're going backwards. It's actually a sign you're moving forwards. But we're dealing now with a more subtle realm. We're dealing with a more refined layer of what forgiveness really means. And it just means that you're on the path of expansion. And that's really where we're all going.
Yeah. I like how you use the analogy of the scar tissue. That's a very good visual. I think. Scar tissue is not easy to get rid of. And there is layers of it. And what you also said is that it's our divine right, really. We're born to be authentic. And it's not that we have to change. It's really, I believe, we have to remove the layers and the barriers that are preventing us from shining and being our authentic self. Yes. So what do you find that are some of the most common blocks for your clients?
You know, I think you're exactly right. When I first started as a life coach, I was thinking, I have to draw people up. I have to help them realize their potential and help them expand. But really, again, through experience and wisdom, you realize, no, all I need to do is help them peel back the layers that are stopping, and that expansion is natural. So the most common layers that I really see with my clients are fears, limiting beliefs, and past experiences. So I've also discovered that fear, my coach uses a little acronym, false evidence appearing real. All fears are based in limiting belief. And when we remember our true infinite potential and our true infinite essence, there's no need for fear.
Right.
And we realize that we're eternal and we're carrying around this gorgeous body to experience life in, and that the body, or the skin sack, as one of my other teachers calls it, skin sack might end, but our essence doesn't.
Right.
There's nothing to attach to anymore, and we don't have to be living in the fear of death or ending or pain, or it's all just beautiful experiences for us to experience the full spectrum of existence. So yeah, fear and limiting beliefs. And then finally, the past history is a tricky one, because that's the bit that gets wedged into the subconscious mind and says, you put your hand on the hot plate before, that really hurt. Don't put your hand on the hot plate. Right. Okay, awesome. That belief works for me. I'll keep that one. But what about the one that says, when you fall in love, you get hurt? It's like, I see how you're trying to protect me from that hurt again, but actually you're stopping me from the experience of loving as well. Right. So we have to look at those past experiences and say, thank you for being my teacher. Thank you for showing me, you're reflecting back to me my inner world. So you are showing me what I have within me, that I have the potential to change or heal or be empowered by, and then I'm going to attract something new. So no history is ever going to repeat itself. That's pretty cool. It's like, I've been through that experience. I don't actually need to go through it again. And even if someone shows up with the same lesson, but in a different package, it's because we haven't learnt the lesson yet. So again, we can just say, thank you. Thank you for betraying me again. Because you're actually showing me somewhere where I betrayed myself, because you're just a reflection of me. So if I feel like you have betrayed me, actually, ultimately, this is about me, and there's somewhere that I have betrayed myself. And was that some little knowingness that maybe you weren't the right partner for me, but I chose it anyway? Or did I betray myself by consistently putting you first and not putting myself first, because I was hoping that in doing that you would love me more or prove to me that I'm lovable? Or did I betray myself because I know I can get better and I settled for something less than I know I'm truly worthy of? All of those things and many, many, many more are these opportunities for us to learn and grow. So like me with that forgiveness experience, I could take the person that abused me the most in my life and say, thank you so much. You gave me my path. You gave me my purpose. On a soul level, you have chosen to complete this agreement with me, this contract. Thank you, because I'm the one that gets this reward. And sadly for you, you're still living a life of misery and pain and isolation. What a gift that is for someone's soul to say, I love you enough to offer you this gift for you to heal from, and I will choose this for myself.
Wow. That's sure a different way to look at it, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So every relationship we have, we are contracted on a soul level to serve each other, and people play their roles perfectly. The most painful roles for us, those people are playing their role perfectly for our growth and our expansion and learning about empowerment and learning about forgiveness and learning about peace. So without those things, we have no idea who we are and what we're capable of and what life really is about. So I find relationship to be the most fertile ground for growth.
Yes.
And sadly, the painful ones can be the most fertile at times, but as we learn, we start to attract relationships that are so nourishing and so rewarding. There's so much growth to be had, and we can do it pleasurably rather than with that resistance and the pain.
Yes. I just spoke to someone yesterday about relationships and exactly what you're saying, and helping her understand really that they are a gift. And she had a little bit of hesitation with it because she wasn't thinking it was a gift, but really it's a way of polishing our edges. So it not only brings out our good qualities, but it also brings out the ones that we need to work on as well. So it is a gift, and it's a healing opportunity. So I agree with that. Yeah.
And that's a super powerful question I use a lot too. Like, what is the gift here? And when I'm in interaction with people who I see flip into a victim mindset, and typically it's people that I might engage with in the wider world, my clients are very well versed in the questions that I am going to ask them. So they typically ask themselves before we go there. It's like, what is the gift here? What is my lesson? What is my opportunity? And when we can have that as our little perspective, the sunglasses that we wear, and we're looking around saying everything is a gift, right in the midst of pain, we can still see the gift. Yes, the pain is still there. Yes, we need to heal or to grieve or to process those emotions. But how much easier is that when we have the light at the end of the tunnel that we say, okay, that's the gift. Thank you, thank you, thank you for showing me that I deserve more. Thank you for showing me how worthy I am. Thank you for showing me that I am lovable and this is not in alignment with me. So life is just a spectacular gift.
You speak a lot about forgiveness. Now, would you say that forgiveness is one of the tools that you teach your clients to help remove the blocks?
That's a great question. I would say that forgiveness is a byproduct of the tools that we use.
Okay.
Yeah, forgiveness happens very naturally, and it's like a rose that's opening. If we took that closed rosebud and we tried to force it open, say forgiveness, like forgive, and rip it open when it's not ready, we lose the beauty of it. But when the rose is ready, it's going to open up and share its light and share its fragrance and share its beauty. So certainly for people that are committed to a spiritual path, we often think forgiveness is the spiritual and divine thing to do. So I'm going to forgive someone. But if it's not our truth, that's okay. It's absolutely okay to still be hurt by the past and hurt by people when we know that we're working towards that place. And when we get to that place, it is just this beautiful blossoming. And it's like, wow, I see now. And really the reason that is because forgiveness, most people understand it, forgiveness is an external experience. And they say, for me to find forgiveness, it means I have forgiven you, Denise, for you doing X, Y, and Z. And that's where people get trapped up too. They say, I don't want to forgive what they did because what they did was wrong. Like, yes, we can still say that, yes. But it's the burden that we're carrying within that we're releasing. And it's got nothing to do with the physical actions that Denise took or anyone took or whatever might have happened. It's an internal experience. We bring it back within. And when we see the gift and when we feel gratitude and feel love, the forgiveness has happened. It almost negates the need for forgiveness. When you truly reach that place, forgiveness isn't even a thing. That's what's so cool about forgiveness, actually. It's like, I thought it was going to be apathy. I thought I could walk past my abuser on the street and they'd be nothing to me. They could just be like anyone else. I had no idea it was going to be overwhelming love and gratitude. Like I felt this huge beam of light pouring from my heart and these heavy shackles dropping away. And I saw that person's soul and I was like, thank you, thank you, thank you. I still have nothing to do with that person. That's a lie. I did make contact for the first time in 14 years just last month because I don't lose my power there anymore. I can be a sovereign being in the face of communication with that. So I know that I truly have found peace and forgiveness. But if we're losing our power, if the thought of that person or interactions with that person or memories of that person drain us, then we know we've got some inner work to do. Yeah, that's the work of forgiveness. That would be a whole nother interview. We could stay in the beautiful realm of forgiveness for a long time.
Right. Well, I like how you said you saw his or that person's inner being, and it's the namaste,
Yes.
I see you as I am.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I did see him as light. I saw his soul as pure light. And I myself have made bad decisions. I have hurt people that I love because of my own suffering. And that's what I saw in him too. If he wasn't suffering in his life, if he was living in a state of love and peace and forgiveness, would he ever have acted that way towards me? Absolutely not. So that helps me in seeing that in myself. Again, that's a beautiful reflection of our inner world. When I see my own mistakes coming from my suffering, then I give others the freedom to also make mistakes based on their suffering. And I feel the world suffering sometimes. I feel all of us are working on our wounds, and all of us are working through our thoughts and meanings we've associated to our experiences, and not just from this lifetime either. Our soul is eternal. We have lifetimes of things that we're working through. So when I can see that, I know that the only thing that I can offer to a lack of love is love. So when someone's suffering, they need my love. So the people that hurt me the most need the most amount of love from me. And that's my service in the world. That's Erin being Erin in the Uber. That's Erin being Erin when I'm hanging out with friends or with a client. It's like, how much love can I bring here? How can I truly see this being's essence beyond their actions, beyond their thoughts, beyond their subconscious mind, and help them see that for themselves, that they are truly just a beautiful being of light.
Wow. Beautifully said, Erin.
Thank you.
This has been so amazing, Erin. Is there anything else that you want to share before we close this interview with our audience?
I would just really love to request everyone to consider the same. How can they bring more love to everything that they do? Knowing that ultimately it's bringing more love to ourselves that allows us to bring more love to others. So how can we see ourselves as those divine beings of light? How can we see beyond our actions and our thoughts and our subconscious and connect with that true essence of who we are?
And that's a movement and a big challenge. That's wonderful. Erin, you had mentioned that there is a free gift that you would like to offer our audience. Do you want to?
Yes, I would love to. So I have a meditation live stream community where we get together twice a month and we work through a meditation theme. And through the meditation, we do energetic healing as well. So it's this beautiful space of really committed, supportive, loving individuals. We get together on a video call just as we are now. So we get to see each other and listen to each other and interact. And we heal and meditate as well. So I would absolutely love to offer anyone that's watching who really resonates with this kind of work or is interested in knowing more or just wants to be in that field of vibration of these people coming together for love and healing, 1 month of complimentary access.
Wow, that's a wonderful gift. Thank you.
Oh, such a pleasure.
I want to thank you today for sharing your wisdom and all your insights. I've gained so much, and I hope everyone else has as well, Erin.
Oh, thank you so much for the invitation. I absolutely love having these opportunities just to connect. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, everyone. Take care.